Which 3 words best describe Robert?
Consultative, whether you're a sponsor, whether you're just having dialogue with Robert.
The words that I'd use to describe Robert would be kind, sincere, interesting, and super cool.
Enigmatic, caring, funny.
So I'm going for the 3 C's. Charismatic, without doubt. Rob is the epitome of this word. Always a pleasure to be around. I always look forward to our meetings, whichever crazy, wacky, quirky, strange location we would deliberately plan those meetings to be in. And never a bad word said about the guy. Rob was also caring, whether that be dogs, cats, trees, flowers, bees, fellow humans. Rob was always interested in your personal life and also always cared about that. He always asked about how the family were getting on, and we often shared updates on our personal lives. And lastly, coaching, and this has got 2 parts for me. The first, delivering over 500 coaches into the festival, was the reason for why Rob and I first met all of those years ago. But also, I learnt a lot both personally and professionally from Rob. And I heard somebody say that we should be a little bit more like Rob. We should think a little bit more like Rob. What would Rob do in this situation? How would Rob respond in this situation? And I think that's a fantastic legacy, amongst others, that Rob has left with us.
So I was lucky enough to be the one that got to style that fantastic head of hair of Robert's for many years. And my 3 words that I would use to describe him would have to be charming, unique, and genuine.
The second would be compassionate. Robert understood, I think even with strangers, he understood this sort of what they were doing, where they were positioned, what they believed in.
Well, my first word has to be respect. As we all know, to have respect, you've got to earn it. And Robert certainly earned his. Always listening to other people's views and ideas, never being judgmental. So, respect to you, Robert. The next one, I think, really would be troubleshooter. Doesn't matter if the whole situation was totally up in flames. In would step Robert, make total sense of the situation, and hey presto, all is well. And cool. And that leads me to our last word, cool. Robert, with a hairstyle like yours, what else can describe the most incredible man that we'll always remember? God bless you, Robert.
3 words that sum up Robert to me: uniqueness, empathy, and loyalty.
About once a year, Robert used to find a way of telling me that his nickname was the Dark Lord. But in truth, and I did tell him this, I never saw that darkness in him at all.
The words I kept coming back to were cool, calm, and collected. And it's not particularly cool to describe somebody as cool, calm, and collected, I don't think, but I think they are the best words that I can kind of describe you.
I'd say first, energetic. Robert was enormously energetic, always wanted to move on to the next job, always hassling, always pushing. Secondly, innovative. If we couldn't find a way around a problem, he would find another. He was always looking around the corner, looking ahead, pushing ahead, seeing what we could do next. And finally, cool. I think he was a cool dude. He really was. I tried to emulate him, sadly with no success at all. But
what is the best way or word to describe Robert? I think annoying. In fact, bloody annoying. How can a man that look that cool all the time? Like wherever you met him, whether it's down the festival, in the village, in London, wherever it was, he just looked cool. And not only that, what was all that hair about? I mean, it's just not fair. That man is blessed not only with taste, good looks, and all that hair. I mean, not fair. Actually, joking aside, Robert was a really, really lovely guy. I knew him through the village, and the longer I knew him, the more I liked the guy. He was truly an inspiration to us all and will be sorely missed.
I feel like he carved himself out this role of being the guardian of the great mothership, and He was really fucking good at it. So yeah, the 3 words that define him in my mind are kind, loyal, and sharp.
And then the last one would be cool. You know, Robert was a very cool character. And you'd leave meetings or cups of coffee or whatever it may be, and you'd come out of those and go, he's really cool.
3 words to describe Robert? Arguably not enough. But if I think about him and reflect upon my relationship with him, I'd start by saying smart. In fact, super incredibly smart. And always solutions oriented and a lateral thinker. And I absolutely love that about him in all my dealings with him and how I got to know him. Second word, well, in fact, I'm going to use 2. Time Lord. Time Lord. Yeah, stand back in awe, Doctor Who. Robert Richards toyed with time on a daily basis, and I just can't believe how much he managed to cover. An incredible amount of work, always delivering the best possible results. And you know what? He was a man that always would find time to deal with the most trivial of things with so many high priorities that he had to deal with. And I could only stand back in awe at how he managed all of that. He was definitely a Time Lord. And I have an inkling he constructed his own sonic mobile device. Hugh Grant, Nigel Havers, George Clooney, Pierce Brosnan. Just move aside, guys. The definition of charming belongs to Robert Richards. Suave and debonair in the extreme, while being so grounded and caring to one and all. Arguably as close to a superhuman charmer as you could get. I will miss you, Robert, but like for everybody who had the good fortune to know you, you, sir, will never ever be forgotten.
The first and the most obvious one is alive. It sounds odd to say it in this context, but Robert was so alive. Alive to life, alive to the possibilities of it, alive to the sheer joy and adventure of it. And that's how I remember him. The second is real. In business, I took particular delight in the clarity and the straight between the eyes nature of his nose, even when they were directed at me. And sometimes the sheer volume of them, so that when you got to a yes, it was like a Man from Del Monte moment with hats in the air. More importantly though, real, Robert dealt with everything with his feet firmly on the ground. And watching him operate always reminded me that what's important is people and taking the time. Which brings me to my last word, which is deep. Robert was a thoughtful man. He'd experienced much in life and was generous enough to share it. I will miss him.
Robert was genuine. People loved and approved of Robert because he was honest, truthful and sincere in the way he lived his life and his relationships with other people. Genuine people place meaning over money. They value themselves. They have great intuition. They diffuse drama or avoid it altogether. They take responsibility for their mistakes. They're always learning. They have little tolerance for fakery in others, and they are courageous. Whenever I saw Robert, he would always start off by asking how I was and how was the family. He had a genuine interest in other people and their well-being. Robert was insightful. He had a very good understanding of people and situations. He was perceptive, shrewd and discerning. He understood what was happening behind the words and behind the actions, and he could see exactly what was going on, how and why. Robert was passionate. He had strong feelings and belief in things. He was always focused on what could be rather than what is. He chased his next goal with the unwavering belief that he would achieve it. He had a taste for life and for everything that makes you feel like you're living it to the fullest. He was passionate about so many things. Glastonbury Festival and the Abbey Extravaganza were very high on the list, but he was also passionate in another way and clearly adored his fabulous and devoted wife, Anne-Marie. Robert Richards, the man. Genuine, insightful and passionate.